Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Leftovers Season 2, Episode 1. It's called Axis Mundi. Full spoilers for the episode as always. And also, we ended up having a bit of a break between the last episode and this one. It wasn't intentional, but it kind of worked out in a weird way because it was the end of a season and it felt like a natural point for a little break.
Little pause, yeah.
Little pause. That said, we should hopefully catch up in lost time over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to specify when or how, but we will.
It'll likely happen at some point.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. So we're on season 2, and first things first. What is with this opening title sequence?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I didn't like the first season ones either, and then it changed it, and I immediately went, "Oh, this is also terrible. What's going on?"
Yeah, I like the first season ones well enough. I don't love them, but I like them well enough. This one, no thanks. Can we go? It's possible it'll go back.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I'm just saying it's possible that it was,
At least
it was just meant to be.
At least now I know that it changes per season. I can at least hope that season 3 has a
Yeah,
nice
yeah. I could see the whole idea being, we're introduced to the family. We go a long time without our season 1 cast. The idea being that if we're back to our regular cast, we can get.
No, it doesn't. I know it doesn't.
Oh, don't ruin it for me.
Well, you're sitting here speculating. I'm like, no, I know it's not. I've already seen that the title sequence is there in the second episode. Sorry, but
What the hell did you do that for? You just had to know.
I did. I was curious. So sorry, but all right. So that out of the way, the episode itself. So we start with a very interesting, kind of like short film at the start almost. This 10-minute short film. Now we find out later that it's the same town that we're in later on, which is what has now been called Miracle, Texas, because this town somehow had no departed.
Yes.
Because that was the thing, like, as we were introduced into this family, and it was like showing us very, the girl was in the pool, and until we got to like, the town square, and I got what was going on, I thought, oh, is this set before? Like, I was thinking, oh, maybe this is on the day, and like this is going to, because maybe these are new characters, maybe one of them's going to vanish, and that'll set up, like, and then we'll see them in present day. Like, I thought it might be doing that kind of thing, but no, like, it's present day, and this town had no departed, so it's known as the Miracle Town, and people come to like sample the water from the spring because this is a miracle town and it might cure them of cancer and whatever else, but more than that a little bit. So we have this opening scene set in the same place in caveman times, right? We're right back at the dawn of man, right?
Yeah.
And there's a sort of tribe of people sleeping in a cave, and a clearly very pregnant woman, and obviously, given where it goes, this is an obvious thing to say, but I actually said as soon as I seen her, she looks like she's ready to pop. That was the exact phrase I used, because her belly was like ready to go. And she goes outside to pee. And obviously this is all silent, no one's speaking, they're all like, the cavemen.
Yeah, they don't have language yet.
They're grunting, and we don't even get that. We hear maybe a little bit of panting later on when someone's in pain, but that's about it. She goes out to pee, and as she's peeing, there's like a big loud noise. There's a big loud, disastrous, like, the ground's opening up and like the apocalypse is happening noise. And you're not really sure what it is, and then she turns around and you see that the cave that the rest of her tribe are in, presumably the father of her baby, her family, everyone she knows, there's been a rock slide and they're all caved in.
Yeah.
And she tries to pick up a couple of rocks, and I'm like, if there's only one person on the outside trying to get you out, I feel like the pregnant lady is probably not the best
one you want. Yeah.
Nah. And of course, it's exactly as she starts doing this that her water breaks, and it's like, oh, Jesus. And then we get probably one of the most unpleasant pregnancy, like birth scenes, maybe, on TV.
It's very raw.
It's raw. I mean, she basically squats, and it's like she's having a shit almost, the way she's like, it comes out. Like, she just kind of squats and it comes out and she kind of catches it, as opposed to like lying down. But then again, who's to say what way a cave woman would give birth? I'm not sure if we have that information. So,
got to get it out somehow.
I mean, and that's actually one of the things, because obviously like, having a baby now is such a medical procedure. You go to the hospital, there's doctors, they're all very sanitized, they have all these things in place. Back then, it was just like a lucky, like, if you were going to survive it, if your baby was going to survive it, Like it
I
was just
mean,
a
you have
complete.
to imagine more did than didn't, just based on the.
I mean, probably. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was 50-50. But obviously, enough lived that we.
I assume that because it's such a essential part of life that it's like, okay,
It's something we're
it's
supposed to be
probably
able to
we're
do.
more likely be able to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, no, that's fair. Clearly, though, she was in great pain, and she bit off the umbilical cord, which was
Lovely.
thoroughly disgusting. Um, and this is just a really depressing little story, by the way, because she has this baby, and then she's trying to take care of it. She's trying to get food for it. There's a snake that goes after it, and she goes down, kicks away the snake, but the snake bites her. She gets poisoned. Let's not get into a debate about what's poisonous and what's venomous. We did that recently on another video, and I don't want to repeat that discussion. But she's like dying. Like there's a point where she's holding her baby and she's dying. And like the baby's not going to survive this. Like the baby's on his own. Like he's not old enough to do anything. I said he. It was a she. It was a little girl. But lo and behold, another cave woman comes up just after she's died, and she picks up the baby, and it's. Oh, and obviously we know that a certain baby, like, has now been adopted by the the Garveys, and like
Yeah.
so maybe obviously there's a slightly thematic thing there, obviously. But the idea that even after all this disaster, there's hope to go on. Like the child will survive with someone else, and there's maybe possibility for a brighter day. Like maybe if we're going with this idea that this town's a miracle place, then this is the miracle that the child will have someone like that. Someone just happened to be there at the right time, just to take
Yeah.
the kid in. So I said killed there by accident. So and that's basically the story. And we're in the same spring, and we cut to present day, and it's it's
It's a really nice transition, actually.
Yeah.
Where it, like pans across and you see them jumping into the water.
Evie, who's the daughter of the main new family that we're introduced to, who are the main characters for this episode. We go a long time before we see any of our season 1 characters, and I knew they were all going to pop up because they're all in the credits. So I knew that we were going to see some of them. Although
Yeah.
not all of them. I feel there's a couple of characters we're going to see just because we're not in the same town anymore. Namely, I feel like Amy and like the mayor. We're probably not going to see them.
No, they got shafted.
They did get shafted. So we're introduced to this family, and they're quite nice. The daughter goes home. We see her kind of have some fun with the guy who's like testing the water, and they're just kind of having kind of fun teenage antics.
Yeah, it keeps lingering on the sign saying, do not remove any of the water.
Yeah, and he's doing it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she goes home, and our brother's there, and our mum's there. Our mum's got hearing aids in, and they talk about how their dad's not up yet, and they go up and put a little prank on him. Like he's a very heavy sleeper. They put like a big stack of books on him until he wakes up, and then he eventually
I've had
does.
that done to me.
Have you? Yeah.
I once had someone dropped on me. I slept through it.
Was it a heavy person dropped on you?
It was a regular person.
Man or woman?
Man.
Oh, okay. I'm actually, I'm pretty sure, even if you dropped a baby on me, I'm pretty sure I'd wake up.
I'll sleep through anything.
And to be fair, I don't think I'm a light sleeper. I think I'm a pretty reasonable.
I basically slip into a coma every night.
But the cats, if they jump up onto my chest, can wake me up. Like it's possible.
I have my phone alarm sometimes like on my chest, so I will feel it as well as hear it, and it's as close as to me as it can get, and I'll just slip through that.
This is why things get delayed when he falls asleep for a nap.
People. It is. I just.
So we're introduced to these characters, and they seem very, very pleasant. They're all very warm and sort of welcoming to each other, having fun. They're kind of a happy family, which obviously makes me immediately go, right, there's something darker going on here. There's an undertone. There's something else going on.
I know this show too well.
The dad specifically, I'm still learning the names here. John, I think his name is John Murphy. There's something about him. Like he's been very pleasant and he smiles a lot, but there's just something behind the smile where you don't trust him.
Yeah,
it's a very good performance because you know that there's an ulterior motive to, like, not with his family. It's very genuine in the first couple of scenes, but as soon as he starts talking to other people, there's a very different motive behind his interactions. So, and obviously that's a big thing for this episode, is we find out what he does. And he says he's going to work, and he goes to like talk to this guy named Isaac, someone he's known since childhood, a friend. And you get the idea that he's like a fireman or at least a fire inspector, because he talks about the regulations. If you're renting out a room, you should have
Yeah,
another
fire
exit.
exit up there. Yeah.
Yeah, like so, you get the sense that he does something like that, and I never realized this was his work yet. Like it wasn't until later that it clicked. Oh, this was actually part of the job. What he does now,
Yeah.
and over the course of the episode, you get this sense that all the people, all the visitors who come in to the town to sample and buy souvenirs and do all this stuff, they are promptly brought in a bus and then they're brought out and taken out in a bus again. Like there's a very timed thing. It's very regulated, and the idea is that no one's just allowed to show up into the town and stay there.
No, they have wristbands on that designate them as visitors.
Yeah, and even though we know the Garveys come in later, and they've bought a house so they're allowed to stay, it really sounds like they had to go through the process and get approved before they could come in.
Yeah, they talk about how the houses they sell so quickly,
Yeah.
just because the legend has spread and everyone wants in.
Yeah, so, and they're still wearing their bands because just until the security that's around
Yeah, I
the
think they
town
said like
gets-
the Rangers would not bother
yeah,
them.
whatever word they use, but whoever's enforcing this, until they get used to the faces, because it's only like 2,500 people, so you get the impression that they know. I mean, you wouldn't remember everyone, but you'd.
Yeah, but you remember one person in a family and you see them together and you go, right, okay.
Yeah, you'd remember at least, assuming they have their beat, like their patrol zone, you maybe remember everyone in your zone, kind of idea.
Yeah, you'd learn your neighborhood.
Exactly. So, yeah, so they're just keeping them on for a while, but you get this idea. And so it turns out what John's job is to basically discover anyone who doesn't belong there and force them out, seemingly by burning down their house.
Yeah.
And it makes him this really devious villain for the episode, because you really, as it goes on, and this guy Isaac, who is doing kind of like readings for people, he's like a psychic, and obviously he says something bad's going to happen to John. Like John makes him do a reading for him, and he's like, something bad's going to happen. He's hesitant to even tell him, and obviously by the end of the episode that turns out to be true. Something bad does happen to him. So obviously I'm not confirmed that he's telling the truth, but we're inclined to think there's some truth to it. He's not just a con man.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Wayne last season, in the sense where maybe it seemed there was just enough that made it seem genuine.
Yeah, I think at this one you're backed up a little bit though, because he's at least a nicer person on at front value.
Yeah.
Because Wayne was kind of a dick to people, despite the fact that he was doing these good things. But so he questions him, and then he goes out, and we see him go to his station, his fire station, with some of his other co-workers, I guess, and they're like, "Oh, I've got a 2, I've got a 2.5." You don't really understand what this means, and he's like, "Oh, I've got a 5," and he's like, "Seriously, a 5?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like selling people a lie, and he's taking their money. He's a 5. It's like, so obviously we can speculate to okay, that means risk level, what happens to a 2 is what I want to know,
Yeah, I imagine 2 just kind of goes on a watch list.
Yeah, probation, they need to keep an eye on them maybe, I don't know. But
Yeah.
5 is no, we need to go and burn down the asshole's house. And as it's pointed out, because we find out that his wife actually works, Erica, she works at the hospital, she's a doctor, and she's because they actually beat him up, they throw him out the window, this guy Isaac, and it's when he's getting treated, he's like, I deserve to live here. So it's not even like a secret, but at least, maybe it's not super spoken in front of everyone. It seemed like there was maybe
Yeah, just like one of those known things.
Yeah, at church, the priest was very trying to stop it from anything like that from coming up, because he knew that he was trying to do his job and question Matt, but it's almost yeah, but it's known. So Isaac's like, no, I deserve to live here. I was born here. This is my home, and he's basically been shoved. Oh, you don't have your house anymore, so get lost. I guess is the gist here.
Pretty much.
You're not welcome. So that really sets him up, and obviously once the Garveys show up, obviously it happens with Matt as well at the church. The priest is going on vacation or whatever, so Matt's coming in to fill in. He's living here now, and we see his wife is looking a little bit. I mean, she's still in a wheelchair, and she still looks not very emotive.
She
but
seems conscious.
yeah, she seemed like she was aware of things to a point.
Yeah.
And obviously Matt, we know, is as good as you can possibly be to a point. He's
to a fault.
To a fault, exactly. To a fault. So he's been really, really nice with, and it's almost like John's judging him, you're just here because it killed your wife. It's like you don't deserve to be here because you're using it for your advantage.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. You get that feeling from. But then obviously when the Garveys pull in next door to John's family, to Murphy's, it's like, oh, first of all, you're like, oh shit, it's our characters. We're actually going to stay here. Because for a while you're thinking, you're thinking maybe something will happen, and then one of these characters will end up with our characters. Is maybe what I was thinking. But no, sure enough, like our main characters are coming to this town. This is where we're going to be, which solidifies for me that the Guilty Remnant are done. Like we're done with that plot.
Yeah, that's not a thing anymore.
And I'm sure we'll see obviously Laurie and Tom and whatever they're doing in their own plot line, but I don't think it'll be directly.
Yeah, and we might see the effects of what happened
Yeah.
and how it affected everyone, including our characters here, because we didn't really get enough of them to explore their mindset at the minute.
No, certainly. It certainly is basically just what we sort of knew was going to go down from the end of the season 1 finale. Is that they're kind of functioning as a family. They're happy together. Jill's in a much better mood. She's joking and stuff with people, and they've got the baby who they're looking after. And I'm glad there was a little joke about the baby being black, like because both parents are white, so obviously someone has to ask: is the baby adopted, or did your mum screw a black guy? Which is what Evie, the daughter of the Murphys, asks.
It's like she's not even my mum.
Yeah, yeah. Which it's a pretty funny little moment, and then she and Nora brings it up as well when she's asked about Jill, like oh your daughter's lovely or something like that, she says, and she's like, oh, she's not mine, she's Kevin's. It is very much a hodgepodge of family.
It is.
You've got a dad and a daughter who are actually blood related, but then you've got a new mom, and then you've got the adopted son who's not related to anyone and is like a different race from everyone else in the family. So it's a very, very mixed family in that sense. So you set all this up, and obviously they're being nice. Murphy gets this mysterious pie on the porch. And we actually never find out where it comes from. I was thinking Matt at first, but then it never comes up, so I wasn't really sure if maybe that was the intention.
It could have been him still though, next episode when we see him, he's like, "Oh, do you enjoy the pie?" But why did he leave it to them specifically?
But he's worried he's being poisoned though, so he offers the pie to the Garveys.
Yes, that's dark as shit. He's like, he's very clear. It's like, this might be poison. I don't really want to eat this just in case. It's like, hey, they need a moving in present.
Yeah, that was fine. And then they invite them to the barbecue, and that's when we get all this interaction between them. And you really get the feeling that John is grilling everyone when he has a chance to speak to them. Obviously, there's a little spark between Jill and Michael, the Murphy kid. There seems to be a little bit of a spark there, which is interesting because he is like the total opposite to anyone that she was into last season. Because we see he's religious. I mean, the whole town's religious because this is the miracle town. They all feel this way. But he goes and feeds this. There's this guy on a podium in the main town square, who everyone goes and feeds. But he's like, oh, he likes mom's cooking.
I need to know more about that guy.
Yeah, he's fascinating, isn't he? I want to know more about him.
The idea is like, what the hell is this guy up there for?
But, so you get a sense that he's a really good person, and it does make you wonder, like, how much do these kids know about what he does to people? Like, they maybe don't know the extent of his job, but do they know exactly how he does it? Like,
I have to assume. I would assume they know nothing.
It feels like it.
I mean, I think maybe it's something that only the adults know about. Like the kids have no idea. Because
the kids feel very genuine. They feel very genuine, nice people. Like Evie feels very pleasant. Like she always seems very bubbly. There's one moment in the episode where it just cuts to her with a choir at school, and they're singing a song. It's a song that's been written about this town because of the departure and them surviving it, and it's very, very like all that. Obviously, there's some weird, interesting things about her as well. She has these seizures that she goes into from epilepsy. And it's kind of creepy when she just sort of blanks out and she just sort of stands there. But the other thing, of course, is that there's a random scene in the middle where it's almost like a dream sequence where it cuts to her and one of her friends running through like a forest naked.
Yeah, it's what's her name from The Flash? The friend.
The Flash?
Yeah, Jesse Quick.
Is it?
Yeah.
Huh. I never even realised that was her. Fair enough. But yeah, so they run around naked, and it's like this really random dream, and it makes me, especially where the ending goes, and it seems like Evie's gone. I'm like, I thought that was building to something, like she's having these weird pathetic dreams, or it's implying something else, or like, is this her having a flash to when she's going to be in heaven? I don't know. Is everyone naked in heaven? I have no idea.
Maybe it's a manifestation of almost survivor's guilt. Like no one in this town got taken.
I don't necessarily think we've seen the last of her though. Obviously, we're not talked about the ending yet, but I feel like she's been interesting enough, and they've set up enough interesting little tidbits about her that I feel like there has to be more.
Mm.
Even if it's just flashbacks, even if it's just, things like that, rather than her just showing up again.
Yeah, it made a big deal about showing her taking the water in the bottle and drinking it.
Yeah, yeah. She was taking the water out of the spring and drinking it, and um, obviously at the end, like she doesn't come home. She after the barbecue, she has to go with her friends. There's an earthquake that night, which seems to happen in this town kind of
Mm.
frequently.
I mean, some places are just like that, so it's
Yeah.
it's not unbelievable.
I never thought of Texas as being an earthquake prone
Yeah,
zone.
I don't know if Texas is. That's some places.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Like obviously California is,
Yeah,
uh, but maybe Texas is. But so they go looking. Both John and Michael go looking, and they find out that all the friends are missing. All the friends. They call the other friends' houses and like, oh, we thought she
yeah,
was with you. Where's she? Like blah blah blah, and they go hunting for her. And Michael happens to know. Oh, they go out and swim there sometimes. But I mean, as far as he knows, she's never done it at night. But like that's maybe the place to check. And they go out, and the water's gone. The fish are just lying dead, flopping around on
yeah.
the sort of what used to be the seabed. Not sea. Is it still seabed if it's not a sea? I guess whatever, doesn't matter.
Just move
Yeah,
on.
and then we see this giant crack, this giant hole that's formed in the, and he almost, and I immediately sort of thought about how scary that would be if you were in that water. Like you really would have no chance because it would be like a
No,
giant funnel.
it would just drop down. Yeah,
Yeah, you would just go. You wouldn't even be able to swim against it. It'd be too powerful.
yeah,
Um, and it's obviously a big money making moment at the end to really like, okay, what's going on in this town? Like you
yeah.
really fascinated. I think what I'm impressed by, obviously we'll talk about some of the other subtle moments and whatever, but what I'm impressed by with this episode is that it really has set up a new status quo. And obviously we've brought our characters back from last season, and I think it'll be really interesting to see how Kevin deals with things as he learns about what John does, and especially since he's a chief of police, like or he at least
That
used
that
to be.
that was the moment that really got to me when John mentioned how he was in prison before,
Mm.
and Kevin immediately switches on a bit, and I don't think he brings it up that was his job. I don't think he ever mentions
No, he
it.
doesn't, because I actually because when he brings it up, there's that moment where everyone goes quiet, uh, and he's like, "I'll go ahead, ask." He's like, "Ask what?" No, ask what everyone wants to ask. What did you do? And he asks, "So what did you do?" And honestly, you say he turns on a little bit as if he goes into cop mode. I actually don't think. I think he's actually quite genuine the way he just kind of like, he's friendly and he just
I think he stays friendly, but I think it's in the back of his mind a bit. I think he's
yeah
just
maybe.
aware of it now, and he's switched on in that sense.
And he asks, and he's prompted to ask, so he does ask the question, "What did you do?" Uh, Attempted murder. And he says, "Oh, what happened?" As if as if he's genuinely interested. And he says, "I didn't try hard enough," or something like that. Like, it was a joke. It was a good joke to
Yeah, it was.
sort of cap the moment. But there was a couple of again strange moments where Kevin, when he's in getting a beer from the fridge, and he notices the couch, he's like, "Oh, we had one just like that," and he almost stares at it blankly for like a second.
Yeah.
And John notices it. Was, "Oh, this is weird. What's going on with him?" But no, it's very very interesting little tidbits they're seeing here. So I'm curious to see like will Kevin's like police chief history. 'Cause I don't necessarily know or think that he's going to try and become a cop again in this town. Like I feel like maybe he's left that behind him. After everything,
Yeah,
I can see it
yeah,
being
I
that
get
way.
it.
I can also, given that it never came up, I can see there being an interesting moment where John learns that he was a police chief. Like, oh shit, like,
Yeah, yeah,
because
exactly.
maybe not so much that he's scared of that, but just that it's like, oh, he actually might be more aware of me trying to like case him. Like he might, they may have some skills that make him more of an opponent rather than just a regular job to figure someone out.
Right, exactly.
Interesting ideas.
I,
Yeah, so yeah.
I mean, you say it could be a big moment when he learns, but I feel like he's going to do some background research on Kevin,
Oh yeah, maybe yeah.
and I feel chief of police a pretty public job,
Oh yeah, I don't think he'd have any.
so I think he'll learn it quite easily.
Here's something that's interesting. Anne Dowd was in the credits. I don't know. Like I got that she was still going to be in them for the rest of season one,
Yeah, and
but
Liv
and it's
Tyler
not
was
just
in the
I.
credits as well. I remember seeing that.
Oh yeah, I was expecting her to show up again though. Whereas Anne Dowd, for obvious reasons, I
Yeah,
thought would be gone. And what's interesting, and it wasn't. It's not just an IMDb because I know you're glancing over it now. I can see double checking my facts here. I noticed it in the opening titles, like it was on the episode.
Right. Okay.
So, and that obviously made me because obviously we don't see Laurie or Tom in this episode either. We don't see Liv or Meg, I should say. But like,
This changes things.
It does make things interesting. It makes me wonder how trippy are we going to get.
Oh, it's not like it's a secret if it's in the opening titles.
Oh, of course.
There's your credit. It's like, okay.
But the reason why it was never suspicious in season 1 is because if you're billed as a regular, even if your character leaves for the last 2 episodes, you'll still be credited in those last 2. But this is a new season, so her being there as a regular still is like, okay.
Something's going on there.
Interesting. Curious.
Yes.
Very curious. So, that's good stuff. I enjoyed this a lot. It was a little bit weird at first because I was like, wait, is the whole episode going to be with these new characters?
It took me a while to get into it just because I had to learn the groove of who these new people were and get into the swing of it because of that.
But obviously once Matt walked into it was when the Reverend announced him. He's like, and Matt, and I'm like, oh, Matt?
As soon as he started saying it, Tom, a replacement, I was like, I see where this is going.
Yeah. And then obviously when Kevin and that pull up, which I always felt, because like you say, Matt was like, you could almost kind of like guess that was going there, just because, we're in a church, he's got a replacement, we know at least someone who could do this job, whereas like Kevin with Nora and that pulling up next door was just completely like...
It's chance,
Yeah, just random, but obviously fate and things is maybe an idea in this show to, bounce back and forth from. So yeah, I definitely like the kids. Not that I dislike the parents, but what I mean by that is, I think he's a good character, John. But in terms of liking him as a person, is a different thing, obviously, because he's very much this.
Yeah, I loved his face. When they said, we'll go get the pie that he'd given them. Yeah, at the end of the barbecue.
He's like, oh shit, they're gonna make me eat it.
Yeah,
yeah, because that's obviously after Evie drops the cake when she has her seizure. So yeah, obviously we should mention as well, is this running the theme throughout the episode of it was like a bird chirping. Was it a bird or was it like a more of a cricket type thing?
Yeah,
but it's in the house. It's in the Murphy house, and John specifically is
He's determined to find it. It's kind of become an obsession.
Yeah, he's obsessing over it as the episode goes on, and you kind of get the sense, this relates to his obsession of like weeding out the bad people that shouldn't be in the town, like this
Getting
really
rid of what doesn't belong.
Superiority complex that he's maybe like built around himself for his time.
This is why I think the kids really have no idea, because they're like, just leave it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's fair. But he's like, this shouldn't be here. I need to root this out. It's kind of like the people. He's doing the same thing. Yeah. And obviously we mentioned his wife has the hearing aid, and one of those little things is at the end of the episode when she's sitting waiting on a call from him about is Evie okay? Like you hear the thing chirp one more time, and I don't know if she had her hearing aid out, if she could hear it. I'd have to go back and check. But I kind of like the idea that she might not have heard it, but it's still chirping.
Yeah.
Like there's just this really, like it's like she could almost like turn off.
She can ignore it. Like she can overlook things. She's not that bothered.
Yeah, she's aware what it does though, because when he invites them over at the barbecue, he says, "I'm going to go invite them over." She's like, "Oh, you're going to work on your birthday?" So she knows that's his work. She knows what he's doing. So at least definitely. She's in on the process.
She is in the process, but I don't think she's... Maybe she's just not that bothered by it. She's like, okay, I get that you all want to do this and you can do that, but I'm fine if they just live there.
Yeah, maybe she has support of it though. Maybe she doesn't seem as bad because it's not her job to actually do the digging.
Yeah, but she doesn't speak against it at least.
Because when she's in that scene with Isaac, she doesn't seem that apologetic about it. She doesn't seem like she feels bad for him.
No, she doesn't.
It's very much he's got a job to do, and she's not cruel to him about it either. It's very, very straight faced.
It's really interesting dynamics though, this, isn't it?
It is. It's a very, very weird dynamic. I think the idea that there's a town somewhere that no one left is a very interesting idea in and of itself.
Yeah, but then the idea that it's become this legend and...
Yeah. And is there something else going on here? And how does this relate possibly to the cave woman story at the start of the episode?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, obviously, like again, the earthquake obviously caused a rock slide back then, and then we had an earthquake here that caused this tragedy to happen with the water opening up.
Well, that was it. Like the rock slide left her the only one, right? And this has left them the only disappearances, so to speak. So it's kind of like this opposite.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the idea that everyone in the town, they're the ones still in the cave. They're the ones trapped in. And they're trapped by their conventions of this. Like, oh, we have to vet everyone and only certain people can live here. They're trapped by their conventions.
Maybe.
I don't
I
know.
like the
I'll wait
idea.
and see where it goes.
Yeah, but I think we have to see more before we can analyze it any deeper than this.
Yeah.
But I like the idea though that this is like the town's version of a disappear. Even though it's more explainable, like they obviously went into the hole. Like we know where they are. They're just dead. In theory, like, unless something else is going on that we don't know about. Because
Yeah.
I mean, the car's there. We think they were in the water, but we haven't.
It's a fair assumption. There's no proof.
But like I like the idea that this is their version of that. Like, okay, you didn't have a departure, but tragedy is still coming to you. Like you don't get to just sit out from this. You know.
And it's another big biblical event.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So no, it's fascinating stuff. I am looking forward to diving into the rest of season 2 and seeing. And I had no idea what this was going to be. Obviously, I'd seen some of season 1 before, so I knew what to expect. I knew what the overall gist was. But I am strong start certainly.
Fresh territory for us both here, because obviously I'd seen all of season 1 before.
Yeah, and we were not expecting something this different.
No, but I enjoyed it. I'm intrigued more than anything.
Yes, but given what season 1 ended up building to, like its last 3 episodes were just this, epic climax to everything that had been hinting at. I'm really excited to see where this goes. So that is the season 2 premiere of The Leftovers. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel and everything we do here, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can support us over there. Financially, as it were. Like and subscribing is also supporting, but if you want to go that one little bit further, you can do that over there. But that is us. So thank you very much once again for watching. Keep watching TV, and we will see you next time.